Good evening and welcome to CYC News for today, the 20th of July 2014 and the 13th of Abib 17:30 am. I'm David Nada. In today's headlines, a Malaysian passenger jet has been shot down from the sky, killing all passengers on board. More turmoil for Christians in Iraq at the hands of terrorist group Daash. His Holiness Pope Tawadros receives medical treatment in Europe. Meriam Yehia remains in US Embassy. Egyptian businessman Naguib Sawires works with Egypt's new President El-Sisi to establish economic stability. Russia is under mounting international pressure after Malaysian passenger jet MH17 was shot down over rebel-held eastern Ukraine. The aircraft travelling from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur was carrying 298 people when it was struck by a surface-to-air missile near Ukraine's border with Russia. Pro-Russian separatists are being blamed for the attack, which left bodies and smouldering wreckage scattered across all fields. The United States is calling for a full, credible, and unimpeded international investigation into the crash, with White House officials urging Russia, pro-Russian separatists, and Ukraine to support an immediate ceasefire. Members of terrorist group Daash threatened the Christians of Mosul city in Nineveh with the choice of either converting to Islam and paying a tax to stay in Mosul city, or they would face death. From Friday morning to 4 p.m, members of Daash forcibly displaced 150 Christian families from Mosul city. The members of Daash also seized all property of the displaced families, including their cars and furniture, IDs, documents, and jewelry. A number of mosques called on Christians to leave the city Friday through loudspeakers, adding that bishops refused to meet members of Daash. Daash held a meeting on Thursday in the hall of the Teacher Syndicate, located at the western part of Mosul city, which is the main center of the Nineveh Governorate in the north of Iraq. The meeting included a number of the tribal leaders and the elders of the city. The Christian clergymen did not attend the meeting, although they were invited. After the meeting, Daash issued a document stating the terms of the Christians who chose to remain in Mosul. About 80 displaced families went to Karakosh city, center of Al-Hamdaniyah in Nineveh Governorate and the largest Christian city in Iraq. Karakosh city also suffered from mass displacement after an attempt by Daash to invade it on Wednesday, the 25th of June. But Kurdish Zervani forces confronted them after clashes lasted to dawn on Saturday, the 28th of June. Pope Tawadros II and Patriarch of Alexandria on the See of St. Mark reassured Copts that he is in good health after travelling to Austria for medical treatment. His Holiness explained that he suffers severe back pain that sometimes is unbearable, but that for several reasons was advised not to undergo surgery. His Holiness left Cairo Tuesday, heading to Austria on a journey for treatment that will extend 2 weeks. Some press reports have talked about his deteriorating health, which was denied by His Holiness. Monsignor Eduardo Hiboro Kusala, Catholic Bishop of Tembura Yambio in South Sudan, said that Meriam Ibrahim is still in Khartoum at the US Embassy. The 27-year-old Sudanese young woman was sentenced to death on charges of apostasy. She was subsequently rearrested when she tried to leave Sudan on charges of falsifying documents. She was holding a South Sudanese passport with a visa to the United States. The US Embassy has proved the authenticity of the documents. Since then, Meriam has been waiting for a new trial after she was accused with the charges that may sentence her to 5 years in prison. Kusala added, Meriam's faith was known to everyone, but the young woman was suddenly exposed to threats one day, and then she was convicted. He said, the government has not taken any action, leaving Islamists to decide the fate of this young woman. The date of the next hearing has been postponed until further notice. Mohammed Mustafa, Meriam's lawyer, went to court last Thursday, but the prosecutor did not show up. Orascom and the Sawires family donated 3 billion Egyptian pounds of a 5 billion EGP total donations to the Long Live Egypt Fund, intended to help Egypt develop in this very crucial time. According to Al Watan, the donations were contributed by businessmen during a dinner with President Abdel Fattah El-Sisi at the presidential palace last Sunday. El-Sisi decided to form a committee to manage the contributions and donations made to the Long Live Egypt Fund. It is to be headed by Pope Tawadros II of Alexandria, and Dr. Ahmed Al-Tayyib, Sheikh of Al-Azhar. President Abdel Fattah El-Sisi had called for the establishment of the Long Live Egypt Fund to save the country from the difficult economic conditions experienced after years of instability. CYC formed the committee to discuss projects and ideas for the fund, which will not be a part of the state budget. Morning people who are more alert early in the day are more likely to cheat and behave unethically in the night hours, according to a study reported by BBC. Psychologists have found that early rising larks and late night owls had different levels of honesty depending on the time of day. The study found the link between ethical choices and such internal clocks. The research examined the behaviour of almost 200 people, with the subjects taking part in problem-solving tests and games without realising that it was their honesty that was being tested. The level of dishonesty was found to be heightened when people were outside of their preferred time of day. The study reports in the morning, evening people are more unethical than morning people. It found that ethical behaviour arises when people match their situations. It raises questions about working hours and the structure of the working day. She says if people's decision making is affected by their chronotype. Making an ethical choice, such as sticking to the rules of a test, seems to change with people's internal body clocks and different times of the day. This is suggested by the study. But the findings also challenge suggestions that night owls are more likely to be badly behaved. And that's all for CYC News today. Stay tuned to CYC for more Christian content. I'm David Nada, and from the CYC studios in Sydney, Australia, good night and God bless.